we touched on a principle of Rotzen.
It seems like the last thing we touched on was Das.
Right. Das is the Das is, we brought it in. Das is the result of sensing the Rotzen.
Mm.
Where are we starting?
What? I'm trying to pin down where we should start. We'll have to go back a little bit so that we have a good starting point. So we'll start 5 lines from the top on the second section on page Ayin Dalet. The line begins Ukinoida. The Rebbe introduced a very interesting thing that kind of threw everybody a little bit off balance. The Midos is the result of Hergish Atzmi. Hergish Atzmi means sensing himself, sensing his own interest and sensing his own importance. Namely, that his life is important to him. That is the basis for Midas. What is the direct relationship and the imperative aspect that Midas are based on Hergish Atzmoi? Since that Midas is the translation of the Seichel to a practical, to a worldly perspective, worldly orientation. In other words, let us put this in the next perspective. The way it is in Seichel, the Seichel does not in itself require you to do anything. The Seichel is simply revealing to you what the reality is, the divine reality, the truth, the godly creation. It is not demanding upon you to go and therefore dedicate yourself to doing anything, to move you out of your place, so to speak. You can be a perfect observer and have everything in your seichel. Midos, this is where one responds to the situation in the world and says, wait a second, I must do something about this. When he says, I must do something about this, This is not directly, not pure seichel. This is something which involves you personally. I must do something about it. In other words, I'm taking, in seichel, I'm seeing the thing as it is inside who emes. It's a Mebish's world. What am I have no concerns about it. The Mebish is taking care of his world, and I have no responsibilities as a result of this realization. Midos is where I'm taking it. I'm taking the seichel down to my world, to my level. Midos is where it becomes personal. This is my world. This is my business. When can something become something in that orientation? This is my concern. This is what the Rebbe says. That is due to this is when it comes to hergish atzmai. What is hergish atzmai? So the Rebbe okay, let us go inside now. I said this is the fifth line from the top. That begins with Kenoida. Ukenoida, as is known, the leaders hamidas heimei hadas dafka. That the birth of midas, the birth of midas means the actual birth, the creation of midas. Heimei hadas, excuse me. They're caused from the das, dafka. Dafka means by necessity. What is das? Unique. Das is one of the three intellectual properties. What is unique about das? Shehu inyan ha-hergish, which is the principle of hergish, sensing. Sensing means, actually we explained already, Chochmah, even though Chochmah does not have any kind of proofs, but nonetheless Chochmah makes sense. You see that this is right. Bina is further elaboration on this principle, that this is right, because I have actual arguments and explanations why this is right. Hergish is when it becomes personal. This is not because it is right. It is right because I see that it is right. That's a hergish. This is my thing. When does something become my thing? So this is what the Rebbe says. The gam shemeivin b'sichel, that even if one understands in seichel, eich shehadover toiv, how it is, he explains in the seichel how this is good. How means he actually explains all the details, what is good about it. Nonetheless, ein lo shaychos el hadover. He still does not have a connection, a personal connection to this thing. It is good, and it is good for him, in a sense. He explains Eich Shadover, what is the good about it, but it is knowing it objectively. Lahainu, which means to say, Shein nafsho yikoro etzloi. If he only has things which are the seichel, he understands how this is a good thing. But he does not have the hergish atzmai, that nafsho yikoro etzloi, that his nefesh, his life, is dear to him, is important to him. Shehu inyan hergish atzmai, which is in fact the inyan of hergish atzmai, feeling himself. he has no shaykhs to distinct to want that which is good for him. He doesn't have that hergish. Because he doesn't sense the principle that nafshu yikora etzel his nefesh is dear to him. This is an interesting phenomenon. If his nefesh is not dear to him, so how does he breathe? How does he walk around? How does he eat? How does he live? So we have to understand that this nefesh has been imbued into him by God himself. This nefesh, as it is imbued into him, is a living nefesh. Thank you. This is a nefesh that comes with all the nefesh qualities, with seichel and midas in hand midas. At that point, it is nothing personal. This is the Eibishter affecting life in the person. Subsequent to that, which is like Chochmah and Bina and so forth, subsequent to that, it comes into Das. Das means that I'm not only alive as the life is being given to me by the Creator, but this life is my life. And it is important to me that this experience, that this is my life, is important to me. He senses not only that there is a truth, but he himself is part of the truth. And this is my truth. This means that in Das, all the things that we discussed it at great length the other, all the things that are understood in Chochmah and Bina, in Das, are verified, come to substance. Yes, of course, this is the way I see it. This is the way I see it. Das is one of the faculties of the intellect, but it is when it becomes personal. I agree with this seichel, in effect. This is Das. And I agree with the seichel not because of consequence, but because it's the right thing. Das is the sensing of the seichel on a personal level. I hope we can relate to this. 2 times 2 equals to 4. It's a plain, this is not very deep seichel. It's hardly seichel in the true sense. Equal to 4, we have to explain how this is seichel. But nonetheless, we all sense that this is seichel. If someone were to come to you and say, no, 2 times 2 equals to 5. So you would say, I don't understand what you're saying. I can prove to you that 2 times 2 equals to 4. So he says, no. The proof is not valid. That's the truth. 2 times 2 equals to 5. So here is where we would have this controversy, this crash. Because 2 times 2 equals to 4, because we have proof of it, and also because we have the sense, we can sense that 2 times 2 equals to 4. If you say, you go into higher numbers, into the thousands and the millions, when you cannot have a direct view and a direct perspective of what it is, then you know it only through proof. But 2 times 2 equals to 4, or 1 and 1 is equal to 2. This is not based, no, it can be proven, but you have an overview on this, a direct view of it, that this is how it is, this is the truth. 1 and 1 is 2, and it's not 3, and it's not 5. And if you try to force me to accept that 1 and 1 is 3, I will have a resentment to this, because it's contrary to my personal reality. That's what Herkish. 1 and 1 is 2, not only because I have proof of it, but it must be 2 because that's my personal truth. And if you force me to say otherwise, I can say it, but I will be resenting having to say it.
What's the basis of it becoming it became his personal truth, right?
Yeah. It's an interesting thing that this is the pshat intelligence. Intelligence is not only that I have proof of things. That's logic. This is a Darwinian seichel. Intelligence is a neshama seichel.
Right. But often the ability to separate from your personal view is seen as intelligence. Here we're saying the opposite. This verification by your personal view is intelligence.
No.
When they thought the world was flat, so they had to separate from that view to understand it's actually a sphere.
Good point. Okay, you might as well go there. When people realize that the earth is spherical, they realize that they knew this all along. They never were walking on a flat surface. They're walking on a flat surface only on a practical level. But mitzad their intelligence, mitzad their seichel, mitzad their nefesh, they knew that they're not walking on a flat surface. They sense that they're not going to fall over a cliff. You couldn't explain it. But they were not scared as they were walking, oh, maybe this is where the cliff is.
So you're saying inwardly they never really thought that it was flat.
That's right.
I mean, okay.
What does it mean? Let's explain this. Inwardly, they never thought that it was flat. Not because it's flat or spherical. That's not the point. They have no idea how it is flat or spherical. But they knew one thing, that they're not on the verge of falling over a cliff.
Right, but the guys who went navigating, I mean, I believe they had the real fear that they'd come to the edge.
They were going to prove the Indian because they had to prove it. They did not. Let's put it this way. They believe logically, but internally, they are intelligent and they're seichel. The way they behaved, the way they felt their presence in the world, they had a full confidence that they can go and they're not going to fall over a cliff. The world is made for them to live in.
So this is like saying a person has an internal, personal relationship to truth that is infallible, basically.
That's right. And here is the final notch in this, and that is that there is the sense that this world that I'm treading upon is not some kind of an accidental presence. It was meant for me to walk on it. And if it's meant for me to walk on it, it has provision for all this, for the enormity that I need to be able to walk securely. I'm not a stranger over here. Like I always say, I'm an invited guest. I belong here.
Right. Okay. I mean, just on the similar point, right? Whether the sun is the center of the universe and all the planets are rotating, or the Earth is the center. So people had and were very attached to one view or the other view, and seemingly wrongly, right? I mean, it turns out you can have sort of either view, or ultimately we say the Earth is the center, but it does seem like people had a personal and internal orientation that it's this way or it's that way.
One second. Okay. What are the basis of these two views? Logically, you can argue one way or the other, but from a personal human life element, what is the sun about? What is the earth about? The earth houses the human being. The sun only provides services to the human being. Like the Rebbe says, it is rational to think that the servant rotates around the master rather than the master rotating around the servant.
So much depends on the sun, though.
What?
It's hard to imagine not having the sun to light the earth and to help.
It's there. The world without the sun is not a world.
Mm-hmm.
I understand perfectly well that this is, especially in our mind, very challenging, because we have all kinds of proof, quote unquote, that the sun rotates, that the earth rotates around its axis, and so forth. And this is how we calculate our calendar, on its axis or on the sun and so forth. Nonetheless, we have a principle. It's called, what is the principle? What is the truth of it? What is the truth? Notwithstanding the physical reality that the earth rotates around its axis, or the earth rotates around the sun, what is the significance of it, or what is the intent of it?
Oh, so saying once you get to significance or intent, there's
a completely different view.
Greater unanimity, there's greater agreement.
What?
There's greater level of agreement.
Agreement.
Meaning
that the human being can relate to it. Is that what you mean, agreement?
Or more that it's less about a discussion. It's not about different models. There's an infallible internal view.
Yes, provided that it says nafshe yikorim, that life is important. But if it doesn't have nafshe yikorim, he just studies things and an objective, and that is the only thing that he relates to. then it will remain a controversy.
Hmm.
Take a look, the result of that view, of that perspective. People have lost total respect for human values. But totally. Yamach Shmom, the Nazis made experiments on living human beings. They didn't see the difference between a monkey or a cat or a human being.
This comes from they didn't value themselves.
Yeah,
They didn't value what they.
that's right.
What do you
They themselves are evolutions from a monkey, so there's nothing there. Now they become smart because they're able to execute certain tests and come up with some ideas of a logical structure of the world. That makes them smart. That's not the human intelligence that the Rebbe has blessed a human being with. This is not what distinguishes a human being from the cat.
We're saying up from here that a person could have chachma and bina, but without das, it's not personal. At the same time, he still has real chachma and bina coming from the godly soul.
Yes,
And
but that's impersonal completely. The Rebbe gave him that chachma. But what is his personal reality? Nothing to do with it at all. And this is where the das comes in. Hergish. The sense is nafshi yikono etzli, that his nefesh is dear to him. Why is nefesh dear to him? He senses himself. Hergish atzmi. What is the meaning of hergish atzmi? Like everybody, hergish atzmi. That's gaiva. Hergish atzmi means that the reason I'm here is because I'm supposed to be here. There's an importance in my being here. What's meant hergish atzmi? I'm part of the reality. I'm not an intruder here. I mean, there are all kinds of different ways of putting it. This brings about the din of midas. Okay, so this is how much we covered the first day.
That's a very.